So,
Yeah.
welcome.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. I'm not super familiar with these radio mics. I don't know how close I need to be to it.
You're fine.
All right, cool.
It picks up your voice pretty well.
Okay,
Probably
great.
a little better than this one actually.
Cool.
So what's
Yeah.
new? It's been a while.
Yeah, man. Just trying to go the path of working for myself.
Mhm.
And I was working at the Amazon photo studio for a few years. And the project that I was working on there was getting to a point where they were like, oh, we're going to like send this out to India. And I was like, all right. And they kept being like, well, actually, not yet. Never mind, not yet. So like next week, are you free? And next week, are you free?
Oh, really? So
And
they're just stringing you along.
Well, it got to the point where I was just like, I don't need this. I don't like the job anyway. It feels like a big waste of my time.
Yeah.
And pretty much outside of that, any of the like video jobs and stuff that I was taking on for the past 3 years have just been things that came to me.
Yeah. Like randomly, you weren't like actively searching for them.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't like seeking any of it out.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a good sign, though.
it's nice, but I figured, well, if I just stop spending 5 days a week at Amazon and do a little work on growing my own business and seeking out clients, how good could it be? You know?
Right. I'm sure you'll see
Yeah.
a huge difference.
So yeah, this is my second week, and it does sort of feel like I'm not doing anything, even though I am working every day.
Yeah.
Just
What
because
do
I'm
you-
so used to spending a whole day at work. You
Right.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. What do you spend your days doing?
So for the past these weeks, I've been doing a little bit of work, just like trying to like optimize our websites and social media, making sure we have like enough good content there. Have been just reaching out to some production houses,
Okay.
kind of like talking to some like connections and friends and stuff like that. And then also just formulating some plans and new ideas I have to like help some businesses out and stuff like that.
Like pitching, getting a prospect together and
Yeah.
pitching it to them.
Because I think, and I guess at this point in the game, there are a lot of people that are in the industry. But I think trying to find new ways to present things or tap into markets that don't really exist yet is another thing too. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mentioned earlier I've been working for this corporate company, and they're out in Evansville.
Okay.
So I have a decent amount of driving when I go to work for them. But yeah, you just reminded me of them because you said like some people are kind of out of date.
right.
I feel like they themselves, even though they're in business doing videography, like I have just as good of equipment, if not better in some regards, than them. And I mean, he's been doing it for his whole life. So
Right.
He's probably, I mean, he's not that close to retirement, but he's not that far either. So
Right.
I think he's not wanting to upgrade and spend a bunch of money on new gear, but yeah, it's pretty incredible. Like what kind of jobs you can get. He's talked to me about budgets and stuff like that before, and it's pretty impressive. Like
It's pretty nuts. Yeah.
yeah,
It's just all about which companies you want to be working for.
yeah,
Because obviously the like sexy younger companies,
yeah,
they like kind of know, like, you know, they were raised in the age of technology, and they're like, oh, well, I know how much this should cost. Whereas some of those more established companies that have just been doing it for forever, and then it kind of came into their business
yeah,
along the way, I think a lot of those companies are just looking for whoever gets recommended to them. And a lot of the time it's because they don't have the time to go search out the best talent for the lowest price.
right.
Because they're working. They're
So you
doing
think-
their job.
You think the older companies are like more willing to pay like top dollar for work, or
Yeah. I mean, especially if you can get to a place where you're recommended, you know, because they just need to know that someone is going to come in and not be unprofessional and is going to give them a product that works for them. Which is something I've always struggled with because coming from like a more artistic background,
yeah,
I always want it to be like, well, I need the aesthetic to perfectly match this and that.
yeah.
But a lot of companies out there they just don't have an aesthetic really.
Yeah, they don't
You
even
know
think
what I
about
mean?
that really, or,
Yeah.
or maybe they want one, but they don't
Yeah.
even know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm doing these corporate jobs, I mean, it pays great. They're paying, per mile for gas
Yeah, it's great.
compensation, food, sometimes put you up in a hotel. The day rate is fantastic. It's the best day rate I've ever gotten.
Totally, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, after working for them, it's been probably a year or two now, but I'm just like, I feel like this is what I've like felt like I wanted to find
Right.
people like that for the longest time, because I've been out of college. I went to film school in 2010. So yeah, I mean, I've been out of college for about 7 years. And
Yeah.
it's tough to find good work in this industry.
It really is.
Especially in a place like Cincinnati. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure if you're in New York or LA or those like hubs, it's a little bit easier maybe, although more competitive.
I think it could go both ways, really. Yeah. And it just depends too, I think, on the client you're trying to find. So if you want those big companies, those are hard jobs to find. If you're coming at it from, I want to produce something for you versus like, I want to be a member of someone else's crew, you know, because I think agencies will always be the place that those big companies go to because it's one-stop shopping for them, even though it doesn't have to be. And generally those agencies will just hire out a lot of the project.
Yeah. Are you, so like you said, you're starting a company with your fiance? So you're both like co-owners of the company. Would you call it an agency or?
I would, but I don't as much love what that like reflects,
the thought of that,
you know,
yeah,
like a big creative agency. It's not that. It's we're trying to do the same thing that we're doing with the wedding stuff that we do, which is it's not like a bulk business. It's not just like let's just turn around some videos and we'll just do the same video in the same video. Yeah, we're like taking care and kind of we see it as more of like a boutique thing, where we're taking on clients that we feel have a story to tell, and we think that we would be the right fit to tell that story, you know, and kind of help them shape their brand in that way.
So it's a little different than wedding. I feel like with weddings, it's hard to even get away from that because it's like once you realize the formula for doing a wedding, it's so cookie cutter. Even though the couple might be different, they have like different vows or different setting and stuff, but it's still generally kind of like the same thing every time, more or less. And so I guess with what you're trying to do, you're tailoring it more to like that client.
Absolutely.
And their story and
because I mean there's nothing wrong with running like a bulk wedding business because a lot of clients out there just need something. Right.
There's a demand.
We just, hey, could you just come film this and just do what you do and we'll pay you that price. Right. But I think that what makes like our company different is we're after clients that are like us. People that are like, oh, we really love the color and the look of this. Yeah. And we love the way that you put this together to like tell a story that's not just like the start of the day to the end of the day and you just sort of lay it out in a timeline. Right. Whereas some people don't know to look for that. Right.
So you're more developing a narrative and creating a story and sort of like working closely with the client to develop that story beforehand.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you write scripts and
for wedding stuff, not really. The script kind of writes itself. I arrange scripts in a way, you know? So
like when you're editing in the post.
Yeah. Okay. You take the audio that you get from the day and figure out what best tells the story of that couple based on your experience with them. So I mean, it's a similar way to like a documentary. You know? I guess it really is a little documentary.
Yeah, for sure. I think so. But so with what you're doing now, that's like pretty new to you, right? You just kind of have started with pursuing that
as like a full-time thing. So
so you've been doing it for a little while.
Yeah, so we established the wedding film company like a year and a half ago. Was when we like first launched the website. And so obviously like it takes a little while because up to this point we haven't done any advertising
for the wedding company.
Yeah.
Okay, you didn't do the nod or nothing like that.
Haven't been on there.
How many weddings do you usually do in the year?
So it's been picking up. So when I started doing weddings, it was just me, like sort of word of mouth. Liz, my fiance, a college roommate and friend of hers had just seen like a travel video I had done for Liz and I. And I was like, hey, I really like the way that you can put stuff together to tell a story, even though someone else, it would just be a bunch of random video clips. Yeah. Would you ever consider doing a wedding? I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. And so I was doing that for probably like a year or so. And then I would just get inquiries coming into my personal Facebook that was, say, so-and-so said you did their wedding. Would you do this wedding? Yeah. And it got to the point where I had started dragging Liz along to help me.
Did she have any background in like videography?
So she had, well, not in video. So she has more of a photo background.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. She went to the Art Academy for photography.
Okay. Yeah. So you were doing videography and then she'd come along and do the photography for them?
Actually, not at first. Okay. She would just help me with video and I would kind of like express the differences between the two, which for people who aren't like engrossed in that, they're wildly different, and you wouldn't think they are.
Yeah, they have a lot of similarities, but yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They're like somebody who's a really talented photographer could struggle a lot with video.
Yeah. So I've been seeing, and I mean, good on them for like trying and like getting into it, but I see a lot of very talented photographers think, oh, well, we're going to offer video now. And then you see their video work versus their photo work.
Yeah.
And you see where the photo skills don't translate.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, totally.
And I mean, it's all about trial and error. If
right.
You look at the first stuff that I ever did. I'm like, oh, buddy.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? So, yeah. Yeah.
So did you do a lot of like indie, like short films or pilot films or features or anything like that, like some indie stuff?
Yeah. So I haven't done a whole lot of the small creator stuff. But I have been involved in some of like the indie films that have come to Cincinnati through like the tax credits and stuff.
Yeah.
And I kind of got started there in the art department, actually.
That's cool. I love art department.
Yeah, that's so cool.
What were you doing in art department?
What I wound up getting into for a lot of it was doing graphic design for the prop department, which is really fun.
Yeah,
so,
that's interesting.
if you, for a lot of those films, like, kitty, they don't want to have to clear Coca-Cola or stuff like that, because some of those companies aren't going to just give you it for free.
Right.
They want money for their product being in there.
Yeah.
And it's just easier with those films to just make something up.
So you're making like fake brands to like slap a label over or something?
Or it's like, well, the story is like they're drinking Hennessy, but we can't clear Hennessy. So could you make something that sort of looks like a Hennessy label but is not?
Then would you like graphic design that, and then they would print like a sticker label and you'd like put it on a Hennessy bottle or something like that? Okay.
Yeah. So we would and I ended up being a part of that process as well, just working closely with like prop masters.
Yeah. Did you guys have like a vinyl print cutter, or did you like outsource that kind of stuff? Or?
A lot of it wound up being like FedEx office visits, because it also has to be so quick. Yeah. Like on films like that, it's like, hey, we need this Hennessy label today.
Like they'll tell you about it that day.
Yes.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's high pressure.
It is. So I was doing some of that kind of stuff, and kind of decided that I would rather be doing my own work, because for stuff like that, it's super thankless. Yeah. Long hours.
Did it pay well? Or?
No,
not
really. I mean, it paid what would amount to like any job you could probably get somewhere else.
Yeah, like at a corporate.
Yeah, or even like at like Chipotle or something.
Really?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's when you consider the amount of hours.
Yeah.
When you're like, oh well, it's this much. I mean,
it wasn't hourly, or was it?
It's just day rate.
Okay.
But that's based on roughly 12-hour days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a long day.
And that's a lot on a lot of these shoots. That's 6 days a week, 12-hour days.
Yeah.
And so that's your life.
Yeah.
I remember I did this feature up in Columbus. It was called 478 at the time. It ended up being called Aftermath, but it has Arnold Schwarzenegger in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it's like kind of, I think it was based on a true story. It's like kind of like a revenge film.
It's like an action film?
Yeah. But we shot it in December. And so I would go on days where I was doing mostly graphic design and I wasn't on set. I would go into the office at about 7 a.m. while it was dark out. And when I left the office at 7 p.m., it was also dark out. Yeah. So there was just no sunlight.
Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah. So that was rough.
Yeah. That's like when I worked in my basement, like just all the time, be in the basement, no windows. I mean, I had like a storm door open so I could see sunlight.
Right. That was another issue of that like Amazon job that I had. No windows. Yeah. Just like in a dark room in a warehouse.
It was a dark room too? Yeah. Really? Is it an actual dark room like for photography? Or?
No. I mean, they're all digital.
Oh, okay.
But just,
just like dimly lit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in a band too, aren't you?
I am in a band.
Because I know when we worked together, you mentioned that you guys like, didn't you like, before they were big, didn't you like open a show for 21 Pilots or something like that?
Yeah. Awesome. We played with, back in the day, like at all the random like churches and clubs and stuff, we would play with those guys.
Really?
Yeah.
They played at churches?
Yeah.
Do you still play at churches?
No.
Okay. That's interesting. I would not expect them to play at a church.
That was like they like from the get-go were kind of a Christian band.
Really?
Yeah. But that was also just like a big thing. It was like when you're younger.
Yeah.
If you didn't want to go play the big ticketed club shows, it seemed for some reason like churches, like they're like halls or like they've got a little stage here.
Yeah.
They seem to be a big supporter of all ages shows.
Yeah. Did you have
up.
to play like church music or were
No.
they really?
You just came in and did your thing, and as long as for those shows, I mean, as long as you weren't like using curse words,
Yeah.
you're good.
Yeah. So it wasn't like during a ceremony or not
No.
like a wedding, but like any kind of church.
No, it was just like a lot of churches have like some areas where it's like, oh, this is like the youth area.
Yeah.
Where the youth comes to hang out so they don't go do drugs or
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
So you're just like entertaining
Yeah.
a bunch of like younger kids or
Right.
something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and not even that.
Yeah.
It was just like our peers.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
mean, when we were playing those shows though, we were only like 18,
Right.
17.
Okay.
And then I mean, I also like way before that we
Have you-
started. So
Have you been in the same band since then, or have you
Yeah,
changed
so-
it up? Or?
about 10 years ago, I started jamming around with some guys, and that was what became Let It Happen, which is the band that I was in for this past 10 years.
Okay.
So,
And still are in, or?
so yeah, I mean, we technically broke up a couple months ago, but it is the same guys starting a new band.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Like
had-
you're in the band
Yeah,
still? So
yeah.
like that band,
Right.
like,
We just kind of let
disbanded, but-
it like ran its course as that.
yeah.
But
So
we had
you're
this
like-
new record as a new band.
Yeah.
Um,
Like Phoenix reincarnating yourself
Exactly.
or something. Okay. Right on.
and a lot of it's just kind of stupid stuff, but it's like the way that people see things. So you put out another album from this band that you've been in for 10 years that has kind of had definitely ups and downs. Like we've been on some cool tours and stuff.
Where'd you guys tour?
We've done mostly as far as mostly like Midwest, kind of Southeast. And then we ventured a little bit more west. Have never went fully out to California or anything. But we went on Motion City Soundtrack's last tour,
Wow, that's awesome.
which
man.
was
I
so
love
cool. That was like a dream come true.
that. So you were like part of their tour? Like you
Yeah,
would
we
open
were
for
opening
Motion
on
City
the tour,
Soundtrack?
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, which is
That's
so
really cool.
cool.
Yeah.
They're great guys. I think they're like already back together, but
Really?
yeah, I think they're like playing some stuff now.
Did you ever, this is a little off topic, but did you ever listen to Red Jumpsuit? I keep mispronouncing it. Red Jumpsuit
Yeah.
Apparatus. It's
Yeah.
like a tongue twister. They just played like right down the street. Did you
At
know?
Legends.
Did you go?
No.
I really wanted to. I was like this close to going.
Yeah, I had some friends in a band called Beloved Youth that opened the show.
Oh
think.
yeah, I saw them on the ticket or whatever.
Yeah, they're honestly one of my favorite bands in Cincinnati.
Well, is it like
Probably
pop
my
punk
favorite
or?
band. They're like, it's kind of like a '90s alternative sound.
Okay.
Like somewhere in like the Third Eye Blind kind of realm. But the singer for the band is just an incredible singer, incredible songwriter.
What genre do you guys play?
So our stuff's like pop rock, kind of like also like leaning indie
Okay.
sound now.
And do you sing or
I'm the drummer.
you're the drummer? Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason I thought you would be the guitarist or the singer.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but so you've been playing drums like your whole life?
Pretty much. So I mean, growing up in like grade school when we were like getting into bands and like Blink-182 and Green Day and stuff.
Yeah.
It seemed like everybody was playing guitar. Everybody bought a guitar.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I want to be in a band. And everyone's like, sorry, we already got the guitarists.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I guess I'll play drums.
Yeah, less competition or something.
Because at the time, I feel bad because I have a lot of friends who are incredible drummers and their life's passion is just playing the drums.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was always just, I want to be in a band and like write songs.
Yeah.
That's what always like drew me to music.
Do you do that as a drummer? Like when you say write songs, like, I guess I don't think of a drummer, but as writing songs, but in a way, I guess they still do, right?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm also just a big part of. I've always kind of been like the in-band manager, like the guy who controls all that stuff. So when it comes to songs, like a lot of the time, one of the guys will come to me with an idea, and I'll be like, okay, let's like break this down. Let's turn this into a song. The singer will be like, I have these lyrics. I'm like, cool. Like, what if we did this? What if we did that? What if we did this?
Is that generally your process? I'm pretty curious about your songwriting process because I've been playing with a group of guys recently and we're starting to write, but we haven't gotten that far along yet. So
Yeah.
it's still like new territory for me to be involved in like a songwriting process. So I'm always curious. You know Nathan Dickerson from
You know-
Motherfolk?
I don't know him, but I've recently been seeing his stuff online because he also does video, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I met him through shooting a wedding video. I've shot like 2 with him.
Nice.
And I didn't know that he was in Motherfolk, but he and I had like started talking about it because I friend requested him. I saw he was
Yeah.
like in that band, and then I ended up listening to them because I'd never heard of them, or at least never listened to them before that, but I listened to it. I was like, wow, they're really good. And
Yeah.
so like, yeah, we talked about his process a little bit. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, songs come in different ways,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of the time what tends to happen is someone will come up with like roughly an idea of like, hey, here's like an intro verse chorus instrumental.
Yeah.
And what do you guys think of this?
Mm-hmm.
And if people like it, I will just listen to the demo. I will demo it out.
Yeah. Like when you demo it, like, so you're playing it live, just recording
Not
like
really.
a scratch track?
To be honest with you, we haven't really done live writing
Okay.
for like 7 years.
Really? So
Yeah.
will you like use Logic or?
Yeah.
So you'll do scratch tracks, I guess?
Right. So a lot of what it is. So Michael, our guitarist, and Nathan, our bassist, for the past like album and a half or so, have kind of been the main like instrumental guys. Where it's like, hey, here's this idea that I have.
Mm-hmm.
So they just by themselves at home, they get to experiment and figure something out.
Yeah.
And then they'll send like just an audio file to the band
Yeah.
and be like, hey, what do you guys think of this?
Mm-hmm.
And then we get in there and I'll be like, okay, cool. Like, let's expand on this idea. Because
Yeah.
obviously this isn't a song. This isn't a full song. This is 3 parts right
Yeah. Yeah.
now. So we kind of build that out into like a full instrumental track.
Okay.
And then we have to wait for Drew, our singer, to write lyrics to it.
Yeah.
He's one of those people where he's one of the best lyricists I know.
Mm-hmm.
But he's one of those people who will wait until the very last minute
Mm-hmm.
to do it.
He needs that like spark of inspiration
meaning
or
like
something.
we will be in the studio
Mm-hmm.
recording the song,
Yeah.
and the instrumental is finished being recorded, and he still doesn't have lyrics for it.
Yeah. And you guys are just like hoping he comes up with the right thing.
And he always does.
Yeah. That's
you know?
good. Have you done, how many albums have you done?
So we've done 3 EPs.
Mhm.
And then 2 full lengths. The
Okay.
second full length is going to be this new band.
Do you guys get like vinyl pressed or CDs or anything like that?
Yeah, we've done like CDs in the past. So the last full length we did came out on In Vogue Records. So
Is that like your label or?
it's not my label now. It's like a label distributed through Warner. They're actually out of what's the area? Findlay, Ohio.
So are you on like? Are they like you don't own the label, but
No.
you're not? Are you like on the label or they're just distributing for you?
So we were on the label for
Okay.
Cause and Effect, which was I guess technically Let It Happen's last full length.
Okay.
And then we ended that contract to kind of just go out there on our own and see what was around.
Was it not like in hindsight, knowing like now that you have all this experience behind
Mhm.
you, do you think that like being on a label like that is worth it or?
It's really easy in hindsight to say, oh, we should have never signed that deal.
Mhm.
But it's the same way where like an actor's like, oh, like I should have never done all those movies. It's
Yeah,
like,
that's like, well, that's what got you started. in
yeah,
the first
it's like,
place.
well, if you never did those movies, you wouldn't be in this Marvel movie now.
Right, like you wouldn't be who you are today
Exactly.
if you weren't for that. So
So yeah, it's really hard to say because
Yeah.
being on that label is how we got hooked up with this engineer that has become a very good friend and we've worked with a lot since.
Mhm. Is he local?
He's from Columbus.
Okay, so do
yeah.
you guys go out to Columbus to
Yeah,
record?
it's nice because it's close enough that we can come home if we need to.
Yeah.
But he lives in Galena, Ohio,
Mhm.
which is like,
I'm gonna check this.
oh yeah, you're fine.
You can go on.
Yeah. So yeah, he lives in Galena, Ohio, and it's like a little north of Columbus and a little out in the sticks. So you're not too close to anything,
Yeah.
which I like because
Yeah.
you can separate yourself from the world a little bit.
Yeah, all that hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
Get some peace of mind.
And so we'll generally like go out there for larger blocks of time to record, which I think is better than like going out to the studio, getting there at 9, leaving at 5, coming home and going back in the next day,
Yeah.
because all of your real world problems and responsibilities come back to you.
Yeah. So you actually stay out there? Like,
Yeah.
do they have like lodging for you, or do you get like a hotel?
Yeah.
So-
He's like kind of like, so when we did the last record, it was a basement studio.
Okay.
And then he built like a really nice big studio on his like grounds.
Mhm.
And so we did this last record in this new big studio with like a killer live room, and it was so awesome.
Yeah.
So great to be there.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So do you stay like in his house or?
Yeah.
Really?
So I think generally bands do not stay in his house,
Yeah.
but we're good friends with him now.
Yeah.
And
So you guys
so-
have that connection.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
So does he have like a package that like includes like, because I remember my friend was an engineer at this really nice studio in Iowa, and they had just started up that business. So I was like talking to the owner, and they were like trying to develop different packages for groups where you could just pay to have a single done or a certain amount of hours, but they were also trying to sell people from out of town on being able to come in and like, you know, they would put them in a hotel, and they were trying to like work a deal out with the hotel and stuff like that. So I don't.
That's a good idea.
Does he do that, or is it more just like this is the rate and it's not like?
So, I think it also, just in the same way that in the video world this works, depends on the project, doesn't it? Because like, this is definitely the music industry is not an industry where there's lots of dollars flying around for the bands anyway.
Yeah.
There's somebody getting paid. Yeah. It's just not the band. So it's a lot of, hey, we need to do this full length. We'd like to work with you. This is our budget. And you kind of have to work within
just see
those.
What they say.
Yeah. So again, fortunately for us, he's become a good friend, and he really is invested in and cares about our band.
Yeah.
So we got like a big like discount with him. But with also like when we work with him, he is more so an engineer and an extra set of ears in mind. He's not really working with us as like the producer. So we generally produce our own stuff.
So when you think of a producer, what do you think of? Like, do you think it's somebody who actually formulates the song or guides it?
Yeah, I mean, I think a producer can, but I think that makes them more of a songwriter, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
But I think it's a lot of, hey, it's a great song. Some of the arrangement is not working for me. Maybe we could add this thing here to add this. Just things that you haven't considered, I think, is super important.
Yeah. So he'll just present you with changes that you just like take it or leave it. He doesn't really...
So I mean, Nick doesn't really do that with us because he knows we're crazy and we just want to be in control of all of it.
Yeah.
What's so great about him is, as an engineer, he is there to be the critical ear of, hey, you like your E string is out of tune. Tune your guitar.
Yeah.
Which that's never been me.
Or like the hi-hat is not loud enough or something.
Right. Stuff like that. Or let's do another take of that vocal. I just don't think it was quite there.
Do you guys
I end up being that as well, but
do you guys like layer vocals, or do you do like do you also split like the vocals so it's not like a whole take through?
We tend to, yeah. Just to really give each piece the attention it needs.
When you say each piece, are you splitting it like verse, like a whole verse, or are you splitting the verse up into like segments as well?
I think a lot of it goes the same way that it would if you're filming like a short film or something, where it's like, okay, let's do this master shot. Just start and keep going until it's bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And there are times where you get a whole verse done, and it's like, great, that sounds amazing. Let's move on.
Yeah.
And there are times where it's like, cool, like you definitely like had the spirit of this. There are a few lines that I think you could inflect better to really capture like what you're saying. So let's like dive back into that.
Yeah.
And it's all just about making it sound natural, though.
So they might like punch you in on like a single line that like the vocalist would just focus that line.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that's
because
cool.
for a lot of stuff like that too, it's like a lot of breath.
Yeah.
A lot of breath issues, like
you run out of air.
If it's a lot of words, yeah. And what a lot of singers will do live is they will start omitting words, like connecting words.
Which is bad?
It's fine, because it just sounds the same to the audience. So if you had a line that was like, I can't even think of an example. Of course I can't. But, you know, words like and the and stuff like that are so short when you sing the line, you omit those and you save yourself a lot of breath and mouth movement, but it ends up just sounding the same.
So when you say omit, you mean just like you don't
say
it
it
at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't. Why would you?
Yeah.
You know,
so it's like an unnecessary word that
it
doesn't even need to be in there.
Because the crowd's not going to notice the difference.
Yeah.
And then another thing is using hard consonants. Sometimes it sounds good on the record, but it's hard to do that live and still have all of your breath.
Yeah, I can imagine. I remember that reminds me of two things. When I was in English class in high school, my English teacher, he was trying to help me improve my writing, and he made me start to omit, they're not, what do they call those, articles? Like the, and, or like, or I don't think and is, but the and a, I guess, or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had me write using less of those because he said it made your work stronger. And then, yeah, when I was doing, I took vocal lessons for a little bit, and she tried to get me to focus on pronouncing my words better because I tend to not do that, I guess.
Sure.
So, yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily like the best way to do it, but was her opinion, you know?
So it's interesting too because Drew, our singer, is someone who his whole life, I mean, he grew up in like a blue collar family. But I mean, he's a smart guy. And so his whole life, a big fear of his is that people will not think that he is intelligent. And so he puts a lot of emphasis on saying his words correctly and enunciating every word of it.
Yeah.
And in songs, it just frequently doesn't sound very good.
You think so?
Yeah, like
I feel like it kind of matters the style of the music too. Do you ever feel like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like with some songs, it's like you want to pronounce very clearly,
Right.
but other songs, it would sound not right.
So and I think, yeah, it's all about style, really. So, like, you listen to a band like Death Cab for Cutie, and Ben Gibbard's whole thing is he's literary. So a lot of his stuff starts to sound like this.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's just his voice. But if you listen to a lot of rock bands, a lot of T's become D's.
Yeah.
And a lot of D's that are at the end of words get dropped.
Yeah, it can be very, like, gruff or, like, almost slurring the words together or something.
So, yeah, I mean, we have a song called High and Dry. And you wouldn't want to go high and dry again.
Yeah.
It just becomes high and dry. It's almost not there.
Yeah, it flows better that way. It's not so choppy.
Yeah.
Dude,
by doing stuff like that, yeah, it just feels better. It's smooth.
Is that, like, what style of music do you listen to? Or do
I
you
listen to all kinds of stuff, but I think that's a cop-out if you don't elaborate. So, you know, I love, like, indie pop rock stuff.
Like
I'm really, really into this band called Coin right now. They're from Nashville.
Okay. A smaller band?
Yeah, they're like definitely like on the up and up. They're on a major label.
Do you know what label?
They're on. No, I don't. I can't remember it at the moment.
Oh.
Yeah, they're so awesome. I just saw them open for Young the Giant at Red Rocks.
Okay, I like them. I haven't listened to them in a long time, actually.
Yeah, they're great.
It's a good band.
Young the Giant's another great band. So that whole ecosystem I'm really into, where it's like, it's pop melodies, but it's still rock, and it has kind of like an indie feel to it.
Yeah.
Like, that's my big thing.
You like the Local Natives?
Yeah, they're great.
They're awesome.
Yeah. And then I also listen to really all kinds of stuff. I like folk music. I really love like somber music, like
kind of sad music.
Yeah. But what's the word for it? Kind of like that melancholy. You know?
Yeah, I think I do too. Honestly, I tend to not think of it like that. Especially what I've been listening to lately a lot is, I mean, I listen to all kinds of stuff too, still like regularly, but I listen to a lot of lo-fi hip hop.
Yeah.
Which is actually like, if you go on YouTube and you just like dive deep in searching for lo-fi, it's like there's a lot of pretty like somber lo-fi.
For sure.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of
that's the kind of hip hop that I'm into as well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really get into like trap or hype.
Yeah, I'll listen to it occasionally, but it's not. I have to be in like the mood where you're just trying to, I don't know, feel that vibe or whatever.
Yeah, I like something that you can just kind of like chill and cruise to.
Yeah,
you know?
edit or whatever. Just hang out and listen to some lo-fi. I just actually started working on some lo-fi recently, me and my friend.
Oh, nice.
I'm super into it. Like, I just want to produce like some, because it's such simple music too. Like, you can just do some basic strumming or picking and a really simple drum beat. It's not too complicated.
That's another thing too, is I love rap where they sample like jazzy stuff or like
I love that too.
stuff like that where it just feels,
it's
I
like
hate this is such a cheesy word, but organic, you
yeah
know?
Yeah, no, I mean it's more like natural to me.
Like, that's a reason that I always was super into like Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, he's awesome.
A lot of that,
he has some really cool
stuff.
stuff in his instrumentals. Like some nice guitar work.
Yeah,
and
it's a lot of like jazzy stuff. He got like into like some funk stuff.
Yeah, he's actually, I like him a lot.
Yeah,
I haven't listened to him in a little while, but when I first got into him, I was really impressed with the musicianship.
Absolutely.
So.
And he plays with a live band, so I love that. Yeah,
that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, do you not want to be on a label? Do you just want to be kind of doing like the indie thing?
I am happy to be on a label, but I think for a lot of young bands, they think that's making it.
Yeah.
And it's really not.
Yeah, I was just listening to Joe Rogan had the Black Keys on.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Mm-mm.
And do you know the drummer's name from the Black Keys?
I do.
Dan
but
Aykroyd or something? Or no, it's not.
Dan's the singer.
Yeah. Anyway, the drummer was just going
yeah.
on about like his experience with labels and like before they were big to where they are now, and they've kind of seen it all. And
Yeah.
he was just talking about how like these days it's not even really worth it to get on a label, even if it's as big as like Warner Brothers or some huge like Universal or something. It's he goes pretty in depth about it and just kind of explains that they don't really. I mean, they'll help you get exposure, but they're kind of like screwing you over on your royalties and what you deserve if you're making a lot for them. Like they're getting the bulk of everything.
So I mean, the biggest hero of the music industry is Chance the Rapper because he never signed
totally
a deal.
indie, right?
He still is.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, must make a lot of money.
Oh yeah,
because it's all his.
I'm sure.
You know, but also like getting noticed is tough.
Yeah, I feel like these days like it's easier to be independent, but it's also hard to get
to make a living
a label.
Yeah. So I think that that's the biggest thing is you don't need to be on a label just to be on a label, but it definitely does grant you some respect.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember when we first signed that label deal, it was like, oh, people will book us more.
Yeah.
Like going out on tour, like when we were doing DIY stuff.
Did the label help manage you? And no. Did they help you get booked, or was just the fact that you were on a label?
Yeah, I mean, we were on a label, and the label like posted us on their social media and paid for our record.
Okay.
But that was about it.
Yeah.
You know.
Did they help you? Did you make music videos at all, or did they? They didn't help you produce that though.
No.
Okay, I'm sure you probably shot yourself.
Yeah, I've done a lot of shooting myself, or if not, I'm like writing treatments, directing, editing, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm actually in pre-production on a music video for us right now.
Really?
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's good. Yeah.
Do you have a concept or?
So, the sort of theme of the song is like. So the song is called "All of Me," and it's kind of like about being like with someone and kind of like giving them everything that you have.
Like John Legend?
Kind of, yeah. I mean,
no shame.
Yeah, really.
That's good though. I feel like with me, if it makes me think of like another song, I'd be like, oh, I shouldn't do that. But like, you really shouldn't feel that way. Because like, why should you? You know.
Well, also, if you listen to the two songs, you're not going to find a common thread other than that.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But because of that, we're going to do this thing where we're going to have the band members kind of like on like visually pleasing backdrops, but laying down, or there's going to be like a bunch of like knickknacks around them. And you'll have like these disembodied hands throughout the music video, just like taking them.
Disembodied as in like...
there's not like a person that you can recognize.
Oh, so like an arm just like
comes into frame.
Okay.
And that kind of just like represents that.
Yeah.
And then the end of the video, we're gonna like rig up a thing where like the camera is connected here, the backdrop is here, and we'll go like this.
Cool.
And then everything will fall, but it'll look like it. You know what I mean? It'll just look like it drops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
innovative filmmaking. I love it.
Right. Trying to, and that's the biggest thing too. I think when you are working on a $0 budget.
Yeah.
Is how can you get the most out of the least?
Right. Yeah.
Big productions with big crews and expensive locations are not feasible.
Yeah.
So you have to work around it.
Yeah. So you want to tell me about like your experience working on these like I guess you could say low budget features.
Right.
Because obviously like you mentioned earlier, it was like what, like $2 million budget or something like that.
That's roughly like the like $2 or $3 million is generally those movies that come into Cincinnati, I would say.
Really?
Yeah.
Even I guess not like Carol or something like that.
Carol's probably close to that.
Really?
Maybe they were like more up like 4 or 5, but
really? Didn't that win like Best Picture?
It definitely won stuff.
Yeah. It was pretty highly acclaimed.
Yeah.
They shot some of that right down the street too.
Nice.
There's like a restaurant right down the street that they did some scenes in.
Yeah. So I mean, I loved the crew that I worked with. They're hardworking, talented people.
Were a lot of them local, or did they?
Yeah. So I mean, generally like department heads are not local. So like your director of photography, your production designer, costume designer, stuff like that. Those people are generally brought in from LA or New York. And then everyone under them generally is local.
So above the line is
yeah,
from wherever they're from, and then
Yep.
below the line's like local.
right. Because
usually.
that's the whole point of the whole tax credit is you're giving people jobs.
Yeah.
So you have to really hire local people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the work like felt good doing it, and it's nice to like watch a movie and see stuff you did in it.
Yeah, see your name in the credits.
Yeah, actually, that movie Goat, I finally watched it the other day because it's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And one of the like opening shots of the house, it's like a straight on shot of the wall where it's like childhood photos of the brothers. And like an entire frame full of photos are my childhood photos.
Oh, really? Like
Yeah.
you're the kid in the photos?
Yeah, because he was like, oh, we just need like extras for the background.
Yeah.
And it was just like a close-up shot.
Yeah, that's
which
cool.
is so funny.
So that was one of the features that you were doing the graphic design stuff for?
Yeah. So I was technically, I think I got like hired to do production assisting on that. And on low budget things, it's like, well, we need all this stuff and there's no money here.
Yeah.
So you do this. And then they realize, oh, like this guy's actually pretty good at this.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of going to be what you do.
Yeah.
And so from that, I started getting hired on a few other ones around town.
What other ones have you worked on?
I worked on this like Mariah Carey Hallmark movie called A Christmas Melody.
Was Jeff Barklage on that?
Yeah.
Okay, because I went to
Yeah.
a Jeff Barklage seminar for Ohio HD, and he was showing footage and explaining some stuff from like a Mariah Carey Hallmark
Yeah.
it was Christmas
Yeah.
thing. So I can't imagine he did more than one of those. So.
Right. Yeah.
Was
So
that cool?
I did like that because I was not working directly for like some big shot production designer. A lot of that stuff went more local, and that's how I got hired.
I heard she's like, I think he said that she was a diva.
Oh, she definitely is, but
Yeah.
everyone knows that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's to be expected.
It was interesting though because she directed it, but there were also like 4 other directors.
Yeah. Was it nice? Did you like working with Jeff?
I didn't really work directly with him.
Okay.
You know, so I wasn't like very active on set for that stuff. It was
Were
more.
you PAing for that, or?
I was doing graphics for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is that what you usually do on the features that you work on?
The ones that I have worked on, yeah.
Okay.
I've like kind of stepped away from that because I
Yeah.
want to just start my own career path in the same way that like I was telling you earlier how like I love the way Kevin Smith did things, where it was like, well, I love movies and I want to make movies. I don't know that I have like a bunch of money to go to film school and to take that route. So what I'm going to do is just max out a couple of credit cards to buy some camera gear. I'm going to write my own movie and I'm going to get my friends to be in it. And we'll just use locations that we have available to us.
That's what he did, you said?
Yeah,
But
and
that's
we'll
not
see what
is that what
happens.
you're going to do, or is that...
I mean, that's like definitely where I want to go.
That's an awesome approach, but I would be scared to max out credit cards.
So the thing that's really fortunate about living in 2019 is you don't need to. So I think the original budget for Clerks was something like $16,000 or $20,000.
Really? I guess you can see that when you think about it, because it's not like there's
Yeah.
not that much.
There's no
special
movement.
To it.
Everything's
it's
on a
really,
tripod.
It's like the script and the acting, and
Yeah.
then it's shot like
Yeah.
fine, but it's not
Yeah,
like anything
but back then
special.
it's like, oh well, it's a film camera,
yeah,
so it's expensive. But now you go out and just buy like a mirrorless DSLR that can shoot 4K,
yeah,
and you're good to go.
Right.
So and also, I mean, just working commercially and stuff like that. Fortunately, I have a bunch of gear that I've kind of amassed through that work.
yeah,
So getting into the more like narrative stuff that I want to be doing
right.
is pretty easy. And I also have a lot of friends who are talented and are happy to lend their time in their respective.
Yeah. Are you
skills.
writing like scripts and stuff like that to do?
Yeah. So
short films or features?
I just wrote the script for a short film competition that Aperture is doing.
Okay.
It's like a lighting company. And that's really fun because there's parameters. So it has to be under 5 minutes. It has to all take place in one location. Well, it doesn't have to all take place in one location, but you have to film it all in one location.
Okay.
So if you wanted to get creative and make a different location out of the same location, you could.
Okay.
And then you have to use the word accent somewhere in your film.
Just that word just has to be
Yes.
in the script somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
So based on those parameters, I came up with an idea the day that I saw the contest, wrote the script that week, and now I'm I mean, I'm producing it, obviously, and I'm going to direct it, and I'm getting some friends on board. So I'm casting right now, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know?
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah, especially for something like this where it's like a zero budget thing. It's just, hey, it'll be fun.
Just a passion project.
Yeah.
So
well, it's hopefully a win the competition project.
What happens if you win?
It's like $200,000 worth of gear.
Really?
Yeah.
They give you $200,000 worth of gear if you win?
Yeah. It's like a red helium.
Really?
Yeah, and like a bunch of lights and stuff.
Yeah.
And would be
It's a good prize.
Pretty life-changing.
How do they, so what's like, what do they get out of it, you know?
Exposure.
It's just like a marketing budget for them.
I mean, also most of the people that are on board for the prize packages are sponsors. You know, so it's like, oh, you can talk about how Red gave this thing or how this company gave this thing. The thing that's cool is, so for the contest, sure, you have to produce that, but you also have to produce like a behind the scenes video to kind of go over what you did and how you did it. And that stuff's obviously helpful to like Aperture or any of the other companies involved.
Yeah.
Because people will be like, oh, okay, so if I want to get like really good, like cool outdoor lighting in a night scene, I want to buy that Aperture 300D. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think that's how it's beneficial to like them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm excited about that. Hoping to shoot it here in the next couple weeks.
How do you get on local features? Like, how do you even get your foot in the
so I would say hit up the Cincinnati Film Commission.
Okay.
With like a resume of skills and stuff like that, because those productions are always looking for people.
Yeah.
But generally, what happens is, if you're on one and you do a good job, you keep getting called until you can't do it, and then they'll call someone else, and then if that person keeps doing a good job, they'll keep getting called.
Yeah.
So you just have
like
to
the Stagehands Union or something.
Yeah, you just have to put in a resume or put in a good word with, or get a good word from the film commission, and if there's a spot, generally for stuff like that, you will start out from a production assistant role if you're not in a union or anything. Which that's also, I mean, depending on your concentration in film, that's another good way to do it, is to just work on getting in. Yeah. Like a camera union or something, you know.
But like you would do that way, like through the film commission to get in the camera union?
I think that stuff would be different. I think you just have to look up the respective union online and kind of talk to whoever their like representative is and figure out the steps to become a part of that.
Yeah, I've talked to some people in the industry before about getting in the camera union. That was something I was like really determined to do for a point, or at least thought I was. But it seemed like there was a lot of little things to it that I just felt like would be difficult to do living in Cincinnati. Yeah. It's like you have to work like X amount of hours on union gigs, and you have to get like, or I mean, I guess you can get grandfathered in or something, but that's hard to do as well. So I just felt like it wasn't going to happen for me. But
so all the feature work I did was non-union work. For me, I mean,
that's the other thing. It's like you can still work on features and not even get union hours.
Absolutely, so
it's like you're not even.
Yeah, so I think that. I mean, for somebody who is just trying to learn and wants to be around stuff, there's always going to be a set that could use a set of extra hands. So just kind of seek out like local Facebook groups and stuff like that. And you see, hey, I'm learning, but I'm not an idiot, and I've got like 2 capable hands that I can help do whatever with. And generally there'll be somebody that'll be like, great, come along and learn.
Are you listed on the Film Commission's directory? Like, you know how they have all that, they have like, have you been on that part of it?
I am on the directory.
Okay. Yeah. So you just sent your resume in or something like that?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
That would have been like 5 years ago, 5 years ago.
Right on.
But I just got out of it.
Got out of, like, just stopped doing it, got out of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't doing what I needed it to do for me.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like the best case scenario of that didn't seem like where I wanted to be. And I think that's another like great thing for a lot of people is people get really overwhelmed with like, well, I don't know how to get into this, and it doesn't seem like the jobs are out there. But if you just do it yourself, just YouTube University, learn how to do stuff.
Right.
Buy a camera, any camera. Yeah. Just start go to your, if you want to do weddings, find someone that's getting married and say, hey, can I do this for free for you? Yeah. Just so I can learn how I'm doing it, and there's not going to be so much stress on you because it's a free thing. Or just like, oh, hey friends, I just sort of wrote this thing, let's film this. Right. And if you have good taste and you recognize the shortcomings of your films, you'll get better.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's perfect advice. That's what I always tell people too. I used to teach at Ohio Media School, and I've met a couple people that were interested in going to the Ohio Media School, and I would like talk them out of it. I'd just be like, just save your money. Don't go I think it was like $16,000. So it's like you're going to be in debt. You could use that money to buy gear.
Totally.
And also like take time to study, and anything you need to learn, you can learn like by practicing or through YouTube.
Yeah.
So.
Or just getting on set with a local company who could use a PA.
Right. Yeah.
But
just reach out.
Yeah.
Get, start networking, and just try to go like above and beyond, so that people are really happy with you, and they'll hire you back, and eventually you can raise your rate and
I
meet new people.
I think that is like the most invaluable skill that anyone can have, which I know this is subjective, but is good taste.
Yeah.
Which sounds like, it's like, well, duh. But I think in the same way that you see people that go on American Idol that have no idea how to sing, but they think they're really good.
Yeah, and everybody around them tells them
there's no helping that person. But if you tried to sing a line and you recognized where you were off pitch, you can figure that out.
Yeah, you can work on it and correct it.
Yeah, or if you shoot a video and you realize, oh, like this looks wrong. Let me figure out why it looks wrong. Versus people that are just like, I'm Spielberg.
Yeah. It's like an ego thing, I guess.
Yeah.
At that point. Yeah.
So I think that's the only way you can get better, is just figuring out why your film doesn't look, like Blade Runner.
Yeah. Outside of like not having millions of dollars.
Exactly. Yeah.
Did you go to film school?
I didn't, no.
Okay.
I mean, not proper film school. I was in the electronic media program at UC.
Okay.
In like the college conservatory.
Was that like your degree?
There. Yeah.
Electronic media?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I actually went into the program wanting to be an audio engineer. Because I, in high school, obviously was in a band, started recording bands out of my parents' basement. And as I got accepted into the program, and within that first year, I sort of realized, like, man, all of these bands that I'm recording are bad. And so everything I'm producing for them is bad. Because if the songs are bad, they're just going to be bad, even if they're recorded perfectly.
Yeah.
And that's around the time where I was like, oh, well, maybe video could be something that I do. Because even if the song's bad, the video can be good.
Yeah.
And so I had hired a friend of mine to direct and shoot a music video for our band. This would have been like 2011, 2012. And he came to set and had like a cheap Nikon camera that only shot 720p. And I was like, wait, like Drew's girlfriend has this camera. And I realized, like, well, I wrote the treatment, and that the day of, I pretty much ended up directing it. And then when he sent me the first cut of the video, I had to go up to Dayton and edit it with him. And I was like, why am I not getting paid for this?
So you were paying this guy to make a video for you guys?
I mean, granted, it was only like $500.
Yeah, but still. But
I was like, man, I could do this.
Yeah, it's funny, that reminds me of I don't know if you saw this video, but I recently did a trade with somebody. He did a great job.
Yeah.
He did a really good job of shooting it and editing it, and just like meeting with me beforehand and talking about like where we wanted to go with it and how we were going to approach the story.
Is this your print shop video?
Did you see that? Yeah. I thought he did a really good job with that.
Yeah, I think it worked well.
And but I was just thinking to myself, like, I could easily do that myself without, I didn't pay him per se, but we did it on trade. So the order that you see me printing in the video, I did for him for free.
Sure, yeah.
So, and that was, I would have sold that for 600 or more. So it's like, we used some of my gear. Not to like hate on him or anything, but I have better gear than him, and I've got more experience than him.
Totally.
And I was partially directing it. Like I didn't like try to step on toes or anything, but he was like co-directing, so to speak, with me. So I was like, man, I could just hire somebody to help me shoot this and just pump out videos like this.
Yeah.
So
I think that's one of my biggest struggles too, is like being so comfortable behind the camera, but also trying to be in a place where I am front facing. It's pretty impossible, right? To be both. Yeah. To both shoot a video and also be in a video.
Yeah, it's tough.
For sure. Especially if you want things like motion or, you know.
Yeah, you have to find somebody who isn't totally clueless behind the camera.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the people that are valuable. So it's like you can't neglect their value either.
Well, I think that's also like the big value of like a camera operator versus a director of photography. So
could you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So I mean, you could be shooting something and be the director of photography and not touch a camera the entire shoot. You just have to have someone operating the camera for you that isn't like has steady hands,
good
and
eye
understands movement. But you can just be like, hey, so this is how we're gonna light this.
Yeah,
we're gonna do this and this. He's gonna come over here and do that, and I want you to do like a parallax around him. They'll be like, great, let's do that.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, it's just like when I'm doing these corporate shoots, like the guy who is in charge. It's a very small production.
Right.
Sometimes there's like a decent budget, but it'll be him not really touching the camera half the time. Or nowadays he just had like shoulder surgery, so like he isn't even really doing any camera work now. So it's like me and my friend Connor are shooting everything, and he lets us kind of he's one of the best people I've ever worked for in my life, if not the best. Cool. And like he is very open to like our ideas on shots and stuff. But yeah, it'll just be like a little too much headroom, tilt down a little. It's not like he doesn't need to touch the camera because we know what we're doing.
Absolutely.
So it's more his vision, and we're just helping him bring that to life.
Totally.
That's kind of what you're saying though, as far as like what the director of photography's role is, and
versus like what a camera op would be. You know, or a steady cam op. Where it's like, I mean, there are definitely times where the person who's operating camera or a steady cam are also the director of photography. You know, on lower budget shoots especially. But they're not mutually exclusive.
Do you have any experience steady cam opping?
Not at all, honestly.
Have you ever worn a rig before? I got one opportunity to with, you know, Tony Deemer? I went over his house one time, and I got a picture on my Facebook of me wearing his rig. It was so heavy. I was shocked at how heavy it was.
When I started getting into that, like different stabilizations and stuff, I sort of was born into the gimbal world, the electronic gimbal world.
I love
and I ended up, I mean, I had rented like Ronin M's a few times. Didn't love them. But once the whole like one-handed gimbal thing started becoming big, that's where I started feeling really comfortable. It's low footprint.
It's not as heavy.
I got very used to operating one. And I know where it needs to go and how I need to.
I just did a music video like a month ago with my friend's band, and they had me shooting like probably almost like an hour. At first they expected me to shoot like an hour straight of like the Ronin M. Or I don't think it was the M. Is the M the bigger one?
It's the smaller one.
Okay, so it's the bigger one, just the Ronin.
Just the standard Ronin.
And like I mean, and it was in this little room, and we were using like a fog machine, and it was so hot, and I was like dying, man. Like I was like shaking, sore, like. But
another thing I've noticed is that people will put too much emphasis on gear like that, where it's like, oh, it's we're just in a small foggy room with a band. I don't know that you need a gimbal for that.
I mean, I think the footage looked great, but I kept I agree. I think I kept trying to convince him this. I probably brought it up like 10 times, just trying to kind of like plant the seed. But I was basically saying like, do you want me to shoot this the whole time? Like I brought my tripod. I was like, we could get some static shots. Like I think it would be a really good idea to get like a medium close-up of you, like, because there was a projector, so he could stand in front of the projector, get like a cool shot with the projector kind of changing over him. And like he dressed the set, which is his basement, but he and his bandmate did a really good job of like making it look interesting. And I was thinking it would be cool to get some like cutaway shots on a tripod rather than a gimbal, because it's gonna be just, you want like that variety to cut with.
Totally.
So but we didn't end up doing any of that. So I don't know. Maybe he'll hire me back to do some more in the future. But
that's another thing too. I think, especially with like, what was the genre?
I don't know how I would describe this genre. It's like a lot of like, it's almost like sort of like new age techno, like house music or something. It's
interesting.
They're called Dark Color. He's got a YouTube channel called Odd Header, and he blew up on YouTube. That's like his full-time job now. He's got like 400,000 subs and stuff. But he Yeah, it's good music. It's kind of like, it almost sounds, some of it sounds like old school video game music too.
Oh, nice.
That's like his channel is like all to do with old video games.
Right.
So I feel like he takes a lot of inspiration from that with his music. But
yeah, that like whole like 8-bit kind of thing.
Yeah, he's super into like retro, like the set that he decorated was like old fashioned TVs, and he buys these things that can make them like, you see like the lines interlacing in different colors and stuff. So it's pretty cool. But
yeah, I think the stabilizers are nice for big, long walking shots and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But for a lot of band stuff, I like to just do like handheld or shoulder rig.
Yeah,
it adds like an energy to it.
Definitely.
For the same reason that like horror films or action films, war films, they're not all smooth shots.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
It's not smooth.
Yeah. I went to film school, and that we had to study that kind of stuff, and that's like basically what they would say about it is, like Saving Private Ryan, and during the war scenes, like they're shooting handheld because it's like disorienting.
Yeah, it puts you in the moment.
Yeah, it's not going to be like if you were actually there, you'd be like, oh my god, like freaking out. So the handheld kind of like helps get that across.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people, especially like newer people, their first thought is, well, I need to buy this gimbal because my shots will look professional and smooth. But then they get so caught up in that they'll use it for everything.
Yeah.
And if you just have a subject standing there, like twiddling their thumbs, you don't need a gimbal.
No.
Sometimes
just like handheld or a tripod with literally no movement is better. Like I actually learned that from Matt Pine. Was like he like helped me learn that, I think, because before I worked with him, I was doing a ton more handheld stuff and a ton more gimbal stuff. And I think his background was like news more before he got into weddings. So
huge cameras and
and tripods. Yeah. And so like when I shot for him, the first couple times he was like coaching me, basically saying like, I want to see more static shots on just a tripod locked down, like no movement. And that was probably the biggest thing I took away from working with him, was just like exercising that and not doing like more than I need to, because I always thought like more was better, but it's like less is more in a lot of cases.
Yeah, absolutely. I've found myself going handheld for a good chunk of my wedding days. And it's just because lower footprint. Yeah. And I'll get more shots. Yeah. And the brides will feel better.
Right. Yeah, it's so much easier to get shots when you're handheld because you don't have to reset.
Yeah. And also, like, you can do things like, I mean, as far as like gimbal work goes, like you can do focus pulls, and you can really zero in on what you need. Versus
even on a one-handed gimbal, or you're saying like?
I'm saying by going handheld, you're able to do a lot more of that.
Because your hands on the lens, so
Well, even like with a one-handed gimbal, if you're trying to pull focus on it, it's kind of like shake because it senses the difference.
True. Yeah. I don't shoot on one-handed gimbals too much. I have one, but I rarely use it.
Yeah, there's several shots that I really like it for on a wedding day. So I love getting a shot going down the aisle before anyone's there. Oh yeah. That looks very nice on a gimbal. I'll generally use one for some of like the portrait sessions, and I also love it for first dances. Yeah, they're great. I remember one of the first weddings I did was like one of my best friend's weddings, and I shot. That was like right after I got my gimbal, so I was shooting their dance, like just circling them and stuff. And the dance edit was one of the better dance edits I did. And then I guess I got lazy or something, but I just started shooting tripod with like multiple angles and just cutting to different angles. A little less work. Right. But yeah, also a little bit. Yeah, because we generally focus just on like the highlight film. Yeah. And just having little clips like that are nice. You don't, and it's also nice because you don't have to worry so much about everything being perfect. If you can find a segment that works, then you're fine. Yeah. As opposed to like doing like a full day movie edit or something. Right. Yeah. So, because I think a lot of people will sacrifice a cool shot for a safe shot. Especially with events like that. You mean like people as in like the bride and groom, or like the people behind the camera? Yeah. Yeah. You know, for example, okay, well, I could be moving around and getting this and that, but if there's a chance where I'm gonna like go out of focus or something weird will happen with my camera while I'm moving it, instead I will just keep it on this tripod. Yeah. And it'll just be this one shot. Yeah, I think that's why Matt was like so stern about that. Like he was very adamant about
like just get the shot and make sure you get it so it's usable rather.
Absolutely.
Like he didn't even want me to do a handheld because it was too shaky.
There are a lot of people that are like
totally
that.
Still.
That's why I like working for myself and editing my own stuff.
Yeah, you get to incorporate your style.
Well, you also know what you need and what you can get away with.
Right.
So there are definitely some, like, I'm not going to go handheld doing a walking shot following a couple. Because it's going to look awful. Yeah. You know, unless I had like crazy internal stabilization. Yeah. Yeah. What do you shoot on? I have an A7 III right now. Oh, really? Yeah. Do you like it? I do. I sold my A7S2 for it. Okay. I got lucky though. You sold that on, or you listed on Facebook? Yeah, I got lucky because I sold it. I recognized that something was coming. So I sold my A7S2 before there was another camera to buy. Do you like it a lot better than the two? Do you like, what's the difference? I haven't really looked into that camera. So the batteries are bigger. Oh, really? Better battery life. So you can't use the same batteries on that? Okay. It's a bigger battery. But it lasts longer. I only need like 2 or 3 of them for a day. Yeah. Which is great. Do you have a dual battery grip? Or? I don't. Okay. I just like keeping it smaller. Yeah, no, I do too. I use a dual on that because it obviously like helps with record time, but there are definitely instances where I think it would be nice to have a bigger camera. So if I was doing like for music video or narrative work, I like to make it heavier so that way it's more stable. But yeah, so I'll check these real quick. You're good. The other thing that I love about the A7 III is the autofocus. Is it better than the 2? So much better. When I had my A7S II, I wouldn't even use autofocus at all. I started to. I use it for weddings a lot, and I mean, if I'm doing like a corporate interview, I'll do autofocus. But like even right now, I have it set on. Or I mean, I'll use manual focus on a corporate interview, but yeah, even, like right now it's on auto. But it isn't the best though. That's for sure. Because so the A7S II is just contrast detection, and then the A7 III has. I know. Man, I swear I can't go a full episode without something. It's like the bane of my podcast right now. Yeah, I keep saying I'm going to look back on these podcasts and just laugh about like all the different little blunders at the beginning. Yeah, it's fine. Sorry. You're good. So you saw the Matt Pine fiasco on Facebook? Yeah. Good times. I was pretty shocked that he like did that like publicly. Yeah. It's kind of weird. It like doesn't really surprise me. I love Matt, but that doesn't surprise me. I was surprised. I didn't. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't expect him to be like, take it that there, but whatever. Whatever. It happens. Have you worked for him before? No. I've been doing a lot of work with this guy Shane O'Brien. Shane O'Brien? O'Brien. Shane Harrison. Okay. I've worked for him before. Very nice guy. Pays me a good rate, so. So is that like corporate stuff that you're doing with him? No, I've been doing weddings with him. Oh, really? Actually, yeah. Whenever we're not working. So not this weekend, but next weekend I'm doing a wedding with him. Mm-hmm. How many weddings do you do a year usually? So our company, I think this year we're doing 7 weddings. Okay. Which is obviously not a lot, but it's double what it was last year when we were unknown, and now that I'm able to do this full time. Yeah. And put a little bit of money into ad spend, and we've been able to like branch out and meet people and stuff like that. Just finding the right clients is a big thing, I think, for us. I shot a couple weddings before I like started my business technically, but once I technically started, got my website made and an LLC or whatever for it, then I
I advertised on the Knot, but I ended up shooting 20 weddings my first year.
That's great.
Yeah, it was a lot.
A lot of it from the Knot.
Yeah, there was a good amount of it
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, and some people that I met, I would always ask people like if they did that and what their experience was like with it. And a lot of people seemed surprised that I had like booked that many through there. I guess they didn't have like similar results, but I got like over 100 leads.
That's
and
great.
I would just reach out to people and follow up probably differently than other people did. Like, because you get their email, so you can respond to them through the Knot, but it seemed to me like it would be more effective to respond to them like to their email.
Sure.
So I started copy and pasting everybody's email and just like blasting, not like repetitively, but I would just reach out to all the leads and follow up with them that way, and it seemed to be a lot more effective.
I think my biggest like worry about the Knot is that I think a lot of people on there are looking for like a deal.
Yes, for sure.
You know,
they're very low budget. Matt Pine called them budget brides.
Yes.
He said he hates working for budget brides.
That's the issue. Is like that's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
There are plenty of people out there that have made sustainable businesses on budget brides, but what we're doing and the way that we're doing it is not that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I got burnt out on it, man. I don't even do weddings anymore, really. Like if somebody reached out to me, I would, but I don't like actively pursue that, and I like let my website go, and I was just like whatever.
If you don't mind me asking, what was the rate and what were you delivering?
Like what was my price?
Yeah.
So when I made my website initially, I was going to keep doing weddings, and I was going to revamp my website because I didn't ever end up uploading any of my new work to my site, which I think would have helped me market a lot because it was so much better after I'd done 30 weddings or something. So, but on my pricing page, I had 4 packages, and it went from $1,000 to $2,000.
Okay.
And when I was going to revamp it, I was going to get rid of the options and just say this: I have one thing that I deliver, and it's $2,500 a wedding. Yeah. And that was it.
Yeah.
But and I know I worked with like Mike Bash from Squirrel Films. If you know him. But that's like what he does. He has a flat rate. I think it's $2,500. Or I think he might charge more sometimes. I don't know. But basically, I was going to kind of adopt that model of like you get a highlight film and a cinematic film or a feature film, whatever you want to coin it. Yeah. But like that would include like full-length speeches, full-length dances, full-length ceremony, and then there would just be like B-roll montages in between each segment. So that was... I was kind of already doing that. Like before I stopped doing weddings, I depending on the package they signed up for. If they signed up for like the total package, then they would get like a 3 to 6 minute highlight and then a 20-minute cinematic movie is what I called it. And the cinematic movie was basically like it would include the best parts of the speeches, dances, and ceremony. And then I would also send them the dances and speeches and ceremony edit in full. Like if they open the DVD, there'll be like a menu screen. You can click highlight, cinematic movie, speeches, dances, or ceremony. So
I mean, that's a lot.
It is a lot. Yeah. I was like,
I'm not surprised that you were booking so many weddings.
Yeah. I was giving them more than they might've deserved. I don't know. I mean, maybe not, but I think that was a good reason why I got so many bookings.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but it was also just, I felt like I could have charged more.
Yeah.
Probably.
I think from what I've noticed, it seems like once you get over the $2,000 mark, it really pushes people away.
Yeah, the people that you like don't want to work with, probably.
Yes. So I think that's been one of the biggest things to get over for us. Is so our packages are set right now between $2,500 and $4,000, and it definitely like we get a lot of inquiries that end up like being, oh, I'm sorry, like I don't think we can afford that. Yeah, and that's fine. But I think you end up booking people that really care about it. For sure. You know, where it's a priority for them.
Yeah, that's like the pro and con to being in that price range. And I also did like negotiate with people a lot too. Like I just like from my experience of like having a print business and stuff, like a lot of people, you know, like they'll find other printers who have different pricing or something. And so for me, like I usually, I mean, unless it's like, it's not worth it. I'll try to come to what they are, you know, expecting, as long as it's within, like, basically I just give myself a little wiggle room to, you know, like work with them. Yeah. Because then they're getting a deal and I'm still happy. Right. If I already am at my bare minimum, like I can't do it for any less, then like, I can't budge. They can't feel like they're getting a deal, and then
Right.
I lose the client. And
Sure.
So I was just trying to make as much money as I could, and but I kind of got burnt out in the process. Like there were weeks where I was doing 2 weddings in a weekend, and like one might be hours away, and then the next weekend I'm doing 2 as well.
Totally.
And so it's just exhausting.
See, I think that's definitely one of the biggest things to try and reconcile is it's like, well, I could either not work this weekend or I could take this wedding for $800 less than I want.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you could, but then word's going to get around that you're always going to take
that
less.
You're that guy, and then everybody expects you to do it.
Yeah,
right?
Everyone expects you to do it for cheap, and then also like those quality premium clients that you want are going to be like, oh, well, he's probably not the best.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, I don't, I mean, I went to a lot of like business meetings for my print business, and there were a number of people who recommended to me not to negotiate pricing, and like, this is your set pricing, because then people will expect that of you. So, I mean, I'm careful about it. Like depends on the order. Like if it's like a big order, and they're like showing me a quote they got from somebody else.
Right.
Like if they can like prove to me, like don't just tell me like, this is what I'm getting it for, because people could do that, so
I think that in the printing business there's definitely more wiggle room to work with a quote,
for sure,
because you're not just dealing with, so here's the biggest thing for me too is like in the wedding world is like if it's an issue where like you can't afford a $2,500 wedding video, I'm happy to like figure something out.
Like because you could still lower your price but also do less work in the process,
But if your issue is you don't feel like spending that, you don't think it's worth that much, that's not a client I'm interested in.
Like they don't think it's worth that much?
Correct.
Okay.
Because I think that's, for example, I understand that like a $300,000 house is worth $300,000 if it's the right house. It's like I can't afford that house, but I wouldn't tell a realtor I don't think it's worth, you know what I mean? If it's a great house.
If it's truly that's the market value, then like that's what
it's like worth. I understand, I just can't afford it. I'm happy to wiggle a little bit, be there for less hours, omit this or that, just to still give you if I think you're like a good client and like a good person. Right. But there are plenty of people out there that are just like, ooh, no, I just think that's too expensive for a wedding video.
I had a couple of brides I shot for that were really, really bad to work with. And expected way more than they deserved, and I had to tell them like as politely as possible that like it wasn't like I wasn't going to do that for them, you know, because it wasn't what they're paying for. And
it also seems that's those budget brides are always the worst to work for.
The ones that do that, like the people who are willing to pay more money they're easier to work with, surprisingly.
They know what you're worth. And therefore they know what you're willing to do.
And they have the money, so it's like they don't even care as much.
Exactly.
People who are like penny pinching everything, like they're gonna be just more of a pain, because they're like afraid to spend the money.
Right. So for example, we're shooting actually a New Year's Eve wedding this year.
Nice. I think I did one 2 years ago.
And it's for like a wedding planner actually. But we met with them and they really liked our stuff. And they were wanting to do a highlight film, but the groom to be also like really wanted to have the speeches and like ceremony or something like that. But the bride was like, oh, I don't really care about having audio in the video, but whatever. And so we quoted them and they're like, oh, it's going to be like just a little too much for us, but thank you so much. We really enjoyed meeting with you guys. And we came back and we're like, hey, so I mean, like what is your budget? Like I'd be happy to try to figure something out.
Dude, I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, is that they're not like willing. They don't think about it like that. Like they don't. It's just like, oh, we can't afford that, and you're like, okay, bye. But they still want the job, but they don't follow up, and the follow up's super important, because that's where you can negotiate and figure out what works.
They told us their budget was $2,250. And we said, okay.
Instead of, you offered them $2,500, or
that would be like the lowest package. So that $2,500 initially would have just our 3 to 5 minute highlight film and minute long teaser. Okay. But that includes like snippets of toasts and stuff like that, as long as it plays to the narrative. But we're like, okay, so for $2,500, if they just were getting that, that wasn't going to be enough for them. So they're like, well, really, $2,250 is our budget. I was like, okay, so for that price, we're happy to come in and do the 3 to 5 minute film with no audio at all. Because that is a big burden lifted from us to not have to mess with audio and mic people throughout the day.
And then like find the excerpt to
and we were like, or if you want to, if you can spend $2,500, we'll throw in a multicam edit of the ceremony, which is not hard to do. I don't like doing it,
but it's pretty straightforward.
And they said, yeah, we'll do the $2,500 option.
Yeah,
because they got what they needed.
Right. Yeah. They felt like it was worthwhile at that point.
Yeah. So I think that's a big thing too, is rather than always like trying to offer a discount, just try to add more value. Because there's so many things that are so easy for us to do. Don't take a whole lot of creative strain, but mean a lot to the client.
Definitely.
You know?
Yeah.
And if it means throwing in the ceremony where you just have to like sync your clips in a timeline and cut between them.
Right.
Or, I mean, I think their ceremony is only like a 25 or 30 minute ceremony.
Do you edit everything yourself? And then it's you and your fiance shooting everything?
Yep.
Okay, so you're not working with any like outside people?
No.
That was another thing I was like experimenting with a lot, was like hiring different second shooters. And I even like at one point I double booked a date, so I had like two guys go shoot this super budget bride, which was an awful experience, and that didn't go great, but it was still good to learn, you know. And then I worked with a lot of different editors too. Like initially I would edit all my stuff myself, and then I was like, I don't want to, like, it took me too much time to edit, so I started like finding editors to work with from a high media school and friends of mine, and some were terrible and some were okay and some were great, so it was good to practice, I think, doing all that, but it was also like, you know, it didn't always go smoothly, but good to learn through the process.
And it's really also just all about knowing like what your business model is. Like if you want your business to be super personable, like you're creating a connection with these people, you're telling their story, then hiring out teams to go shoot their weddings and hiring people to edit them, that's probably not the same business.
Right. Yeah. It's two different
but it's
models
fine.
For sure.
There are plenty of successful, I mean, do you know TJ Bitter?
No, but it makes me think of Michael Bambino. He does that.
Okay.
He has like different people that just do it for him, basically. I know he does his own stuff too, but it's like...
So my friend TJ has a company called Tandem Productions, and they do a lot of weddings, but he has like several teams that go out and do these weddings.
Yeah.
He still is like one of the main editors, but that's what his business is they book a lot of brides, and they have the format that they use, which is they do the stuff from the day, and then they get the couple to come in and record like a checklist of things about the other person, and they use that in the highlight film, and then they deliver the full other files.
They do that like separately from the actual wedding date?
It's like a separate day they come into the office to do it.
Okay. I did that with my friend's wedding that I mentioned earlier, but that was like really the only time I did that.
And
we were, like, close friends.
That seems to be working for him. I mean, he's been at it for a while. I think last year they had like something like 40 or 50 weddings.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You know?
Nathan Dickerson does. I think when I worked with him like a year ago or whatever, I think that was last year. He told me I think he did like 60 in a year.
Which is crazy.
I know. I couldn't believe it, because he doesn't really. He edits everything himself. He shoots all of them himself. He hires second shooters, but yeah, that's so much. And then Mike Bosch or Bash. I don't want to butcher his last name, but yeah, he's like the same. He does. He did so many weddings. I couldn't handle that.
Right.
It'd be too much for me.
My friend Zach did a lot of second shooting with him.
Yeah, with Mike.
Yeah. But yeah, I just knowing what your business is, because I know like with Mike's stuff, he like doesn't do much like grading or anything.
Really? Like editing wise?
Like coloring and stuff.
It's just raw basically.
Which is, I mean, I think they use like Canon cameras mostly, so it's like pretty good color out of the box. Yeah. But it's just a totally different game, you know?
Yeah, it's a different business model.
Yeah.
It's just like Michael Bambino was doing. He said at one point he was doing over 100 a year, but he had like multiple teams of people where he'd like double or even triple book dates, and then he like downsized and was just looking for like bigger budget weddings. But I know with Jacqueline, like when I was uploading footage to her laptop, I saw her pricing on there, and I was like, damn, she's charging like probably like $5,000 for this or something.
For photo and video? Or
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I was looking at like her price
Right.
packages.
Yeah.
Which,
Well, I think they do a lot of work
in post.
with like those like Indian weddings
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And
Which are like
those
multiple days.
They're big blowouts. So
Yeah.
that's probably, depending on if they're there for all the days of it, it's
Yeah.
probably fairly priced.
Probably, yeah. I just felt like I should have got paid more.
Oh, for sure.
Did you feel like that too?
What? Yeah. I mean, like, it was what it was.
Yeah, but I
Um,
mean, I said yes, so I can't
yeah,
really complain.
exactly.
But it's just,
I think that's the biggest thing too, is like,
yeah,
if you want to do work and you feel like you have the knowledge
Mm-hmm.
and you're bringing the gear as well,
Mm-hmm.
just know what your time plus your gear rental is worth.
yeah, yeah. I guess I shouldn't complain too much because I accepted it. But that's another thing that's happened to me too, where sometimes people will like agree to, you know, like the rate or whatever,
Yeah.
and then they'll feel like they're getting shorted or something, and it's like,
Right.
well,
If you needed more, you should just let me know.
yeah, you should ask for it
Yeah.
and like establish that rather than
Right.
like expecting it. And,
Totally.
You know.
So yeah, when I started doing some second shooting stuff,
Mm.
I was asking people for $300 for the day. And that felt good to me at the time.
Mhm.
And then I started sort of thinking about the fact that I was I wasn't just in all these weddings, a camera on a tripod. I was injecting my creativity.
Mm.
And also I was bringing like a full frame mirrorless camera and lenses and supports
Yeah.
and stuff like that,
Mhm.
which is like, well, if you wanted to rent all the stuff I'm bringing for the day, you probably would end up being close to $300.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
for sure. You're not
it's like-
charging for rental either. So.
Right. But you start thinking like, oh, they're just hiring someone to bring gear. They're
Yeah.
not hiring me for my work.
Yeah.
And so when I realized that, I decided, okay, I'm happy to second shoot less
Mhm.
and make more.
Yeah.
So I just raised my rate to $500 to second shoot.
Mhm.
And I definitely, like, there are people that's too much for, which I totally understand.
Mhm.
But for the people who appreciate what I'm bringing,
Yeah.
both in gear and in skill,
Right.
you know,
right.
it feels good and I don't feel resentful.
Right. Yeah, that was the biggest thing for me, was like taking on work that was like a low day rate and then
Yeah.
just feeling like I deserved more.
Yep.
And kind of being mad at myself for not like getting that.
Totally.
And then eventually like having a similar process where I was like, okay, I'm just going to tell people from now on that like my rate is this instead
Yeah.
of what I used to say. And
Totally.
when they were willing to pay that, I was like happy to be shooting it.
Absolutely,
As opposed to
yeah.
being like kind of just upset or whatever about it.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you're like, oh, I'll do it for this much. They don't know any better. They're like, okay, great.
Yeah. They're just, I mean, as a business owner, like one of your goals is to get your bottom line as low as possible.
Yeah.
So that's their job, you know.
Totally.
You can't like fault someone for that, but so, I mean, sometimes people I think they don't approach it well, you know.
Right.
Like sometimes people will try to like abuse that, but
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah. I think, you also have to consider what is your bottom line and at what cost is that your bottom line.
Right. Yeah.
Because if getting your bottom line the lowest it can be also completely compromises all of the values of your business,
Mhm.
then that shouldn't be your bottom line.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Question about facial hair real quick.
Yes.
All right, so I clearly haven't shaved, and it looks kind of bad. So you have nice facial hair.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Do you? So I've never really tried to grow out like
Mhm.
on the sides. And this is kind of weird to talk about, but like, do you recommend just letting it grow and like seeing if it like
Yeah. Give it a go.
All right.
I like another thing for me is like in college was around the time that I decided, oh, like I'm gonna grow a beard.
Yeah.
And it looked awful.
Yeah.
It was super patchy.
Yeah.
And I let it get so long but gross long.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like years after, like I don't know, like I got done with college or even a couple of years after that, that I got to a place where I was like, oh, this is a beard. This, you know what I mean? And even
Yeah.
still, I have. It's enough that it looks like a beard, but I still have like some, like, it's not super thick through here.
Yeah.
And I've got like hair doesn't grow like here.
But did you have to like let it grow, like not shave it all the time?
No, I mean, it just sort of one day I felt like it was just better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm experimenting a little because
Yeah.
I used to shave like all the time.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to like see what'll happen if I don't.
Right.
But I'm not too satisfied with the
Yeah.
results.
I used to shave a lot. I now tend to, the only times that I razor shave are for Halloween.
Yeah. Why?
For a costume.
What costumes?
Any costume. I mean, I'm a big Halloween guy.
Mm-hmm.
So we always throw like a big party.
Mm-hmm.
And I also end up going to 1 or 2 other parties. So every Halloween I have got like 2 or 3 costumes.
Mm-hmm. What do you have you gone as in the past?
So last year, we threw a Halloween party that was Tim Burton themed.
Okay. Nice.
And so I was Ichabod Crane from Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
So I had to shave for that.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, I also went to a 80s party. It was Ferris Bueller.
Okay.
So I had to be shaved for that.
Right on. That's like totally shaved, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No facial hair.
No. And then the year before that, we had like a 90s party.
Mm-hmm.
And Liz and I were Buffy and Angel from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Nice. That was a good show.
I'm a big fan, like a big Joss Whedon guy. So
Okay. Yeah, I remember the only time I really watched Buffy was when I was so young that I had a babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
But my babysitter loved that show.
I got like really into it after the fact.
Yeah, like after it was already over and stuff. You just
Yeah.
You ever watch Xena, the Warrior Princess?
Yeah.
Great show.
Yeah.
Loved that show.
Yeah. I've always been a big fan of like a female hero.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why.
I just watched last night this movie called Waterworld with my girlfriend. It was made in 1995.
Mm-hmm.
So good. It was what's the guy? Kevin Costner was the main character. But it was like the highest budget movie ever made. I don't know if that's still true, but it cost them like $275 million to make this movie, and they made it on like pretty much all on water. So it was just like a disaster of a production.
I would imagine.
They went to Hawaii and they had to hire like locals, and they had $1 million budget for this like water island that they had to build out of like steel and wood and paper mache, and like the shoot went way over the designated production time, and there ended up being like a hurricane that completely destroyed the $1 million set, which actually cost them $5 million to make. And so then they had to rebuild it.
Wow.
It was just like the backstory on
the
production of it. Yeah, it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good movie though.
Yeah.
I mean, it got a lot of slack, I guess, but I kind of like bad movies. Like,
I do too.
Yeah.
One of my biggest things is I love, like, especially from the 90s, I love teen romantic comedies.
Yeah.
Don't know what it is.
Like what movie? Do you have any names?
Yes, like She's All That or Can't Hardly Wait, stuff like that.
I'm trying to think. There was that I can't think of it. It was like a classic romantic comedy, I think. Or I don't know if it's a comedy really, but I can't think of the name. Never mind. Forget that.
Yeah, I love stuff. I'm like also like a 90s nostalgia junkie.
Yeah,
so
me too.
I just like love being. The other thing that I've discovered lately is like there's shows that I'm discovering that I didn't ever see that are from the 90s, and it's new, but it still is nostalgic.
It's like new to you, you mean?
Yeah, but because of like the time that's happening and the way everything is shot and stuff, it feels nostalgic. Like it brings me back even though it's new.
Oh, you're talking about movies like or TV shows or movies that come out now that are shot
or
like
no, things like from back then that I somehow missed.
Okay, yeah. That's how I felt about Waterworld.
Yeah,
it's like
it feels really, it's like a cool feeling.
Yeah.
Like, like I'm back in the 90s watching a movie for the first time.
Yeah, I love it. That's like probably, I think I'm realizing that's like my favorite type of film to watch is a movie from like the 90s.
Yeah.
Or maybe the 80s or something.
Yeah,
too,
same.
Those older fashioned ones, sometimes they're like 4:3 aspect ratio, and they're
love a good 4:3.
Yeah, standard def.
Yeah,
all that. But
I've like sort of been noticing this thing lately, which it may not be like a novel discovery, but I'm calling it nostalgia fatigue, where it's like there are things like 90s nostalgia is pretty rampant in like pop culture now.
Yeah,
and there are certain things that used to be nostalgic when I like saw or heard them that they're not now. So like Semi-Charmed Life by Third Eye Blind is no longer a nostalgic song for me.
Because you like
I've heard it so many times on the radio or at a bar or this or that over like the past 8 years.
Yeah.
So now it's just a song. It no longer has meaning for me.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what I loved about those old movies is how like they used to build everything. It was like no CGI.
Yeah.
I feel like everything is so overproduced now. It's so like
it's just
high def CGI, like
it's your bottom line.
Everything, but I mean,
it's cheaper to do it.
Well,
that
don't
way.
they still spend like crazy money on this movie? Like
they definitely do. Yeah,
because it's like the post production now that's what costs a lot rather than the pre-production,
Right.
like building sets.
Of course, like there are certain things you just cannot do with practical.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of stuff it's like just cheaper to have someone do it in CG
Yeah.
than to try to build it.
Yeah. It's just kind of like, I feel like people used to watch movies back then to be like, wow, look what they did like on camera. Like they would take like risks more with stunts and stuff like that.
They
and
had to.
Real pyrotechnics, and
Yeah.
it was just like a spectacle. And now it's like, wow, look what they did
Right.
with a computer.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, to the point
Which is
of
still
like
cool,
a
but-
lot of car commercials you see where it's like a car zooming around.
Mm-hmm.
They shoot that commercial before the car's made.
Yeah, you mean like the B-roll, like around the hillside and
Yes.
stuff? Yeah.
So like there are these little like frames that have the wheels on them that they track. And they get these
Oh,
shots.
yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah, so the engines can match what the cars will do.
Yeah, and then they'll just
they shoot
superimpose it onto the
Yeah.
frame.
It's
That's
crazy.
Interesting. I think I've seen that.
Because when the stuff's still in production, something could change, and if you shoot a car that isn't gonna end up being available to the public,
Right.
you can't use it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting.
That is. Yeah, I miss. That's one of the nostalgia things for me. I miss like the when they used to build the sets and
Yes.
like everything was real.
Absolutely.
It was like, and even if it seemed less real because you had to see it in real life rather than like, it's kind of weird to say, but like some of the stuff that's so fake now looks so real. You know?
Yes.
But back then it's like you could tell it was like a handmade set that looks kind of fake, but it was an actual physical thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, I miss that stuff. I wish they would bring that back or something in movies today.
Yeah. With a lot of that stuff, even if it didn't necessarily immerse you in the story, it did look real because it was.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
It's just a totally different vibe than than what they do these
Yeah.
days.
I mean, it's getting so much better now.
Yeah.
If you look at like the early 2000s computer graphics in movies and stuff, like that was really disorienting.
Yeah.
Like some of the stuff in like The Matrix.
Yeah.
Or like
I haven't seen that in forever, but I feel like if I watched it again,
oh,
I'd be like,
yeah.
wow, I can't believe the people thought at the time this
Yeah.
was like so realistic.
groundbreaking. Like yeah. Or like those like when they re-released the Star Wars movies into theaters.
Yeah.
Like in the late 90s with all like the new CG. Like it looks so bad.
The new CG?
Well, it's like, do you remember like in like the late 90s, they like re-released the original Star Wars movies in theaters, but George Lucas had put new computer graphics into them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I think I saw it, but
Yeah.
it's been a while. But you thought it didn't look good?
No, it looks so, it doesn't match the movie.
Yeah, like the authenticity of like
Yeah.
just the original.
Right.
Yeah,
So that's weird.
I hope one day I can like produce some short stuff that's like made with authentic, real special effects. You know, like Wes Anderson's a big
Oh yeah.
a guy that I like.
Same. I'm a huge Wes Anderson fan.
He does like all you know, like in camera stuff.
Yeah.
It's not very much post production.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's another guy that comes from budget filmmaking. Like that's his mindset. Even when he does have these elaborate things, there's places that he cuts corners. So like if you look at like the Grand Budapest Hotel, those scenes where they're like on the train, they're not on a train. It's just like a production cart that has like one side with a window on it and it's made out of like cardboard or something.
Yeah.
And then you have a camera from the other side and then they just get somebody to push it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, man. I love Wes Anderson. I used to be like the biggest Wes Anderson nut ever.
Same.
I have like a giant Grand Budapest frame from like the movie, you know, that they put in theaters upstairs. And yeah, I was just obsessed. I actually was at one point I was trying to remake. Have you ever seen his short film Bottle Rocket?
Yeah.
Like the short
before
film
it was a
before
feature,
the
yeah.
feature. Yeah, you've seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like printed out the entire script and I was like reading lines with my friends and we were gonna like refilm it like shot for shot.
That's cool.
But it never got done, but we were working on it for a while and yeah, he was a big inspiration to me for a long time. I'm not like as into him as I once was, but I still love him. Like,
oh yeah, I'm a big fan.
does he have any stuff coming out soon? Do you know?
He's probably something's in a live action. Something is certainly in the works because
Yeah.
I Love Dogs is like 2 years old now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like it's been a while.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I Love Dogs was good though.
I liked it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think I liked Fantastic Mr. Fox better.
Oh, for sure. That's a great. I love Fantastic.
Yeah.
It's such a.
What is your favorite Wes Anderson movie?
That's hard, man. I don't know, cause maybe Rushmore.
Yeah.
Probably Rushmore. I love the end scene when that song comes on and the dance starts.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Rushmore's where he really like found his thing.
Yeah. Because did you know that like after he shot the feature Bottle Rocket, when it came out, it did like really poorly in theaters, and people were saying that like he wasn't even gonna have a chance to be
make another movie.
And then I mean now he's got like a cult following. But I mean Rushmore, and I think Royal Tenenbaums was the first one I saw. I actually remember I was really young too. I was actually being like babysat again, but like it came on like just like public television for some reason, and I was just watching it, and I was like, what is this movie? Like I'd never seen anything like it, and I was just like, wow, this is so cool. Yeah. And then like years later, as I was like a lot older, I remember my friends like showing me Rushmore and Bottle Rocket, and I was like, oh, this is Wes Anderson. Like this guy makes awesome movies. Yeah. And then I just dove deep into like everything he'd ever made, and became like obsessed.
I think Royal Tenenbaums is my favorite.
Yeah, that was my favorite. I think it probably
It's just one of those things where it's like saying that a band's most popular album is your favorite one. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh well, that was definitely where like he got that big commercial success. Yeah. But it's just so good.
It's such a good movie.
It's one of the best like ensemble like uses that I've seen ever.
I wish he still worked with Owen Wilson. I feel like he doesn't at all anymore. No. I don't think Owen Wilson doesn't do anything anymore though, right?
He just like acting and stuff?
Yeah, he's not in any movies anymore, is he?
Not a lot.
Or like Luke Wilson either.
They aren't really. Yeah. Owen Wilson still pops into Wes Anderson movies just as a cameo, it seems though.
Yeah. Was he in the most recent ones? He was in Grand Budapest.
Yeah, I think he was just like as a concierge, like real quick. Yeah.
And what's that guy's name? Jason Schwartzman. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a fan.
Oh, me too.
He's awesome. You like his music?
Yeah, I like some of the Coconut Ark and stuff.
Yeah,
like, obviously like the hit, you know.
Yeah. And like Ben Stiller's great too. I'm a huge Ben Stiller fan as well. Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, Ben Stiller is very talented on both sides of the camera.
Yeah,
actually. So.
Bill Murray too. Yep. Do you ever see Zoolander?
Oh, I love Zoolander.
Classic, man. Yeah, it's one of my favorite.
Didn't see the second one. Didn't want to.
I saw it, but yeah, I mean, it's not like I wouldn't even really recommend it.
No.
Yeah.
It's just not a recipe for success to wait that long and then. No. Yeah.
But did you ever see Mystery Men?
Love Mystery Men. Yeah,
Mystery
it's like one of the most underrated movies.
So good. I introduced it to my girlfriend. I was like, you have to see this movie. Like, and I don't think like people don't appreciate it as much as I feel like I do most of the time.
I love Mystery Men.
But yeah, it's so good.
Such a good cast too.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the plot of it too. Like it's such a good movie. That's like my kind of movie. Like it's kind of like cheesy and bad, I guess you would say. But like that's what makes it good.
Absolutely.
You know? No. Sort of Zoolander's sort of the same way.
Oh, it's 100% same.
Or like Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great movie too.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Mystery Men.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Maybe one day we'll make like a bad film together.
Yeah.
That would be a cool goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
my batteries are getting low, so I'm gonna.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, let's cut it.
Yeah, it was awesome talking to you.
So good to talk.
Yeah, hopefully we can work together on something sometime.
Would love to.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.